Hi, guys. This is Eli and Mike again with an amazing podcast. And we have an amazing guest, Jaclyn Baltazar. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
We're
Doing
doing
amazing. Doing amazing. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming here. And it's funny, too, because you were coming from the same location we were coming from. And we're right next to you. And we're
Right.
where we saw somebody driving really fast. We're like, that person. I'm sure it wasn't you, but it was.
I'm pretty sure it was me in the carpool.
Oh my
lane.
God,
In
right.
the carpool breaking the law
Yeah,
by
that's
myself.
somebody-
Yeah, that
Right,
was
right.
me. Yeah.
Okay,
But you know
guilty.
what?
We do it too. Trust me. You know.
But thanks for coming. I appreciate you being here.
Yes.
We heard a lot of beautiful things about you. You being a
Yes.
boss woman and doing your thing. And that's the best thing you could do, especially right now in California. Everybody loves to be an entrepreneur, and some people fail at it, but you have fought against the odds. We've seen what you're doing. This is the reason why you're in this podcast. And we'd love to
Yes.
just ask you the why and what's going on. We're like, why are you this amazing person, right?
Oh my goodness. What a compliment.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a way to walk into a podcast.
You know. It
Yeah.
is the truth. It's the truth. And we're so happy that you're here because podcasts bring individuals together. Today, we're coming from the same place. We all drove like, what, an hour and 45 minutes to get here.
that's
I
right.
believe. And, we made the sacrifice to get here. And this is actually, whoever's watching, this is our first time meeting.
Right.
Yes.
So this is going to be really fun because we're going to be asking some great questions and just kind of get to know you. And
Basically like we're on a first date.
Yes,
right.
that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Yes. That's
Hopefully
exactly.
you don't break up with us.
I'm like, I have
Right.
not been on a date since like December. So
Okay.
I'm like, hey.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
let's see which
right.
one you choose, Eli or Mike. I think it's going to be Mike, but you know what I mean? Just kidding. Just kidding.
You'll get tired of Mike really fast.
Wow.
Stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
But yeah, so thanks for being here. So you know what, being the boss woman, it
Yes.
definitely looks like it's great. You look beautiful. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Being the mother, I see that you have 3 kids.
I do. I have 3 kids. I have my son who is 11, my oldest, and then I have my AC, which is my middle child. And I don't care what anybody says about a middle child. That is not the case, that they're the black sheep, because
Right.
my baby is my everything.
Right.
And then I
There
have
you
a daughter. She's 5. Her name is Mila.
That is
Aw,
lovely.
Yes.
No, we have a daughter too. She's 20 years old now, so she's a
Yes.
big girl. And obviously our son's behind the studio. He's 17.
Right,
So
right.
kids grow up very fast. I'm sure you being a mother is sometimes very tasking on being able to control that, being that you're a boss, but you're also a boss at home. I mean, it's such a process. Are you a single mother or?
I am a single mother, and you're right. It's definitely a process. Maintaining a balance and really finding what balance means for you
Mhm.
is pretty much the key to being successful at motherhood and in entrepreneurship. But I will say that sometimes when you're excelling at something, you're going to be failing at another, because it's just the reality with motherhood and with entrepreneurship. As you guys know too, as parents,
Yes.
just in the same way, sometimes you're doing great as a parent, but your business is kind of like,
Yeah.
Right,
yeah, and then
right.
vice versa. Then your kids are like,
Exactly.
you're working too much. You're not
Mhm.
spending time with me. Get
Yeah.
off your phone.
Oh,
you
my
know?
word.
Right. And
That
you're just trying to
happens
push through. And then, you're being, you being a single mother.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just like, that's the only thing you can do is work those extra hours to make ends meet,
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm actually very fortunate because my single motherness is
Yes.
50-50.
Got it.
So we have 50-50
Okay.
custody. So my
Okay.
kids go for one whole week to their
Mhm.
dads.
Mhm.
And in that week is my hit the ground running week.
Got
you
it.
know? And I'm so thankful that when I
Mhm.
told them, I was like, these are not just my kids. Like, these are your kids too. And I
Yes.
need to be productive just as
Mhm.
much as you have my own life. So finally, when we were able to go to court, we did 50-50.
that.
And it's been the best, because whenever I'm with
Okay.
them, it's
Mhm.
quality time. And people
that.
think that the more, like, if I were to have them 100% of the time, that makes me a better mother. And I think
Right.
that it's completely the
Oh my
opposite.
God.
Having them 50% of the
Wow.
time gives me quality time with them, because if not, you're
Yes.
just on survival mode.
Right.
The
Mhm.
week that I have them, it's school, get them ready,
Yes.
shower, food,
Right.
cheer, basketball, cheer, basketball,
Wow.
sleep,
Yes, right.
shower, like it's
And
nonstop.
then you.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then
you.
and
You're
barely
last.
you,
Barely
and then
you.
it's like
Right.
survival mode,
Yeah.
So, but it does allow me to do these things stress free.
Got it.
I love
You
that.
know?
That's a great concept, and thank you for sharing that with
Yes.
whoever's watching here, because you're right. Even I just a moment ago had the
Yeah.
mindset of sometimes maybe even having the children 100% of the time is the best way to go, but sometimes it's not, because then you're having them all that time, and you might not even be around or be fully invested into them. But when you have them, when it's your time to have them, you know, you're planned for it, you're ready to go. You had a little bit of help from your partner or your previous partner.
Yes.
You know, let's make sure we get that.
I'm like, clarify that.
Right, let's clarify.
I'm like, I'm single.
Right, exactly.
You heard that.
You know. So that's a great, right? So great way to look at it, because we also, we are, 100% custody. But actually, it's 50-50, but we have our children 100% of the time. One of them's an adult already, so our son, we have mostly 100% of the time. But the thing is, you're right. Sometimes we are not there. Right. And, so we have to kind of like bite that bullet. But I like your concept saying, that you get to be with them that whole week. It's beautiful. Yeah, honestly.
To be more present, I think is the ultimate gift in life. And the biggest blessing you can give your kids is your actual presence, your 150% presence, because they remember when they were trying to tell you something and you were distracted on your phone or you were working or whatever the case may be. They remember that you didn't show up to practice. They remember that you weren't there for a game. All those things matter, and they matter in their self-confidence. And I just feel like being in this custody arrangement, although I know not everybody is fortunate and blessed enough to have that.
You're right.
It has allowed me to be that much of a better parent, and I have a relationship with my kids. We're friends. Like we have dinner dates on Mondays. That's when I get them back. We go on dinner dates and we enjoy each other's company. Yes. And I ask them like, what was their highlight of their week at their dad's? And then they'll tell me. And then during the week, Friday's Pizza Friday, and we have pizza together. And then on the weekend we do something. And it's just really quality time makes such a difference, even for ourselves. Like as parents, you feel like when you go to bed, it almost brings you to tears that you know your child as a person, right? Because they are people, and developing their character and getting to know them and how to maneuver them and how to talk to them is so crucial for who they're gonna become.
And thanks for sharing that, because a lot of people that are entrepreneurs in California and then anywhere in the country, it's the hardest thing you could do as a parent is being able to handle your kids in the best way, as because all of us, when we were growing up, right, we love our parents, but at the same time, maybe it's a different generation. It was harder for them because they came in at a time where maybe it was hard for them. They had to, they back in the day, it was like the dad had to work for the mom and the mom had to have the kids. I don't know if that was the same for you, but that was originally kind of the concept. And now it's kind of like a 2-work household. Like everybody needs to work to build together. And sometimes the children are somewhat forgotten. And I think everybody runs to the same struggle. It's hard to actually be able to look back and say, hey, did I tuck my kid to sleep? Did I actually do a prayer with them? Did I take him to dinner? Did I stop ignoring them? Because it is a very difficult thing. We're out here hustling. You're out there hustling and going home and still being able to dial in if your son or daughter are not available. Hey, how are you? How was today? How was it with your dad? Same thing goes for us. Hey, did you have a good time with your mom? And the follow-up is sometimes difficult when you get very busy. So I'm sure everybody can share the fact that being a parent is tough, but how you do it and how often you keep yourself accountable to being the parent is another thing. Because you can be a dad or a mom that just ignores or avoids the fact of conflict, when the reality is you need to be out there. Hey, let me follow up, just like you follow up on your work.
Exactly.
Follow up with your kids too, So I'm sure that's been very, very difficult, but you're doing it.
No, yeah, totally. And to your point with how we grew up so different, I grew up as a lock and key kid. So, my mom, as much as she tried to do her best, and she was an incredible mom. She is an incredible mom. Love you, mom, to death. Yes, I will cry if I talk about you. So I'm not even going to go there, girl.
Shout out to the mom.
Shout out to the mom. Yes, queen of everything.
Go. Right.
But she did work a lot, and so it was just like you walk home. She had already left food, so you just heat it up. Yes. You're going to bed by the time she's getting home. So lock and key kid. Yes. And I remember what I was missing. Not that she did a bad job, but I was missing that connection. And so that's why I do my best to have that connection. But no matter what, you're going to fail your kids one way or another. Right. They're going to have something to reproach you for when they're older. Yes. It's just matter of fact, because we're all human and we all process things differently.
Exactly. Of course.
So at the end of the day, you're gonna fail.
Right.
So just accept it and be open to the criticism when your kids tell you, Mom, when you did this, I didn't like it. This hurt me. And you're like, damn, I thought I was doing my best.
Right. Because as parents, we think we're perfect. You know
Right.
what I mean? We're like, oh, we're doing the best job as
Literally.
parents. And then you go back and you're like, wait, I tripped there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they process things differently.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Yes,
back in the day, I
definitely.
probably hated the fact that my mom or dad would throw the chancla at us, and but you can't do that anymore. You can't throw the chancla at your kid because they're gonna be like, let me
I
call
would throw the
somebody.
chocolate at my kid.
Oh, yeah.
Ask my
I was
kid.
like, actually,
Don't play.
Well, not me, but
Right.
Yeah,
you do your
I'm
thing.
like, hey,
He's a little softer.
don't play.
You
Don't
know?
I
That's me,
actually
that's
don't
me.
hit my kids. It's been a long time, but
Yeah.
unless they really push a boundary. But I'm really good at talking to them.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, like eye level, and I'm like, talk to me. Tell
Right.
me why you did this.
And I love
and
that.
firm.
Yes.
And I'm prior service,
Mhm.
so I do military style
Oh, there
parenting.
you
kidding.
go. Okay,
So like I
okay.
make them run,
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
and like my oldest especially, and I'll
So
make
that's
him
our penalty. There's to go for.
essentially teaching him that
Yes.
nothing in life is free, and like
Right.
everything has a consequence. If you
Mhm.
do certain things or you move a certain way, everything has a consequence. Something
Mhm.
that's big in my house is how you do one thing is how you do everything. My
Right.
kids will recite this to you. They
God
hate it.
bless.
Wow.
But I know one day
Wow.
they're gonna be like, I'm so thankful my mom
Yes,
told
they're
me
gonna
this,
love
you
it.
know?
They're gonna grow so much from just that one statement.
Yes, how you
Yeah.
do one thing is how you do everything. So I always tell my son, if you fail at one thing, it's because of you.
Wow.
Because you fail.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. And this is you telling your son this. Most people are hearing this as an adult.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
amazing that you're teaching your kids young. And I actually have a gym trainer. I'm happy that you bring up how, you know, you have your son run or your kids if, you know, something went wrong. My trainer was just telling me this, that he's training kids, you know, in MMA. And whenever like they act up or whatever, if something goes wrong, then he'll have them run a lap. And then he'll ask them after, hey, do you want to have to run a lap again? If you do that again, they're like, I'm good. I don't want to have to do that again.
Right.
So it's crazy that you bring that up. I just heard this the other day, and he's like, wow, it worked so good.
It does. It's
You
about
know?
teaching them discipline.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
Discipline in your body
Mhm,
and discipline
mhm.
to do the things that make you
Right.
uncomfortable.
And your mind
that.
too, because then you're like, do I really want to act up right now and have to run another
You
lap?
know what?
I'll chill. Yeah,
I'll pass on the run.
exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, definitely.
So on another note, obviously you're a great mother, and
Thank
you know,
you.
you're an entrepreneur. So let's dig a little deeper. So you are running this brand, and I'm
Right.
gonna call it a brand that I know you're working on certain things, but
Yes.
you find anything about you. You have things going on with Target.
Uh-huh.
You have things going on with different companies. So talk to us about how you got into that. How did you get into a scope of business with working with big companies like Target?
Right.
Okay, so my history. Let me give you a little
Yes,
background.
please.
So I'm prior service. I served in the Marine Corps from 2007 to 2011.
Mhm.
I was actually trying to re-enlist, and I
Mhm.
decided to not re-enlist at the very last minute because I was working humanitarian relief efforts in
Wow.
Japan when
Okay.
the
Wow.
tsunami happened.
Got
No
it.
way.
I got
So you were-
awards and everything.
You were
for
out
that.
there in Japan?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So that
Yeah.
that's kind of recent, isn't it?
No, that was in 2011.
Oh,
Got
okay.
I was.
Oh,
I'm
it
like,
seems
don't
like
date
recent.
myself.
Okay, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God.
In
That's
2011,
amazing.
yes.
Okay. So you were literally overseas.
Right, and I was working like I was so right now. Okay, I'm 160 pounds right now, but at that time I was 115.
Oh my
So imagine
gosh.
me 115 because I was
Wow,
working
wow.
nonstop. I was
Oh
working
my
18 hours a
God.
day because there were humanitarian relief efforts. So we
course.
were on a mission
Oh my
essentially.
God.
So I just couldn't I was like, okay, I'll re-enlist if you guys give me a break. Like
Okay.
give me some time off to go
Mhm.
home to see my family.
Yes.
They're like, you can't. You're on a mission, so it's either you get out or you wait till the
Oh,
mission is
wow.
over before you re-enlist. I
Mm.
was like, I want to go home.
Yeah, yeah,
like I
right.
was so
You
tired.
know, for real.
I was depleted, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I decided to get out.
Okay, and did you ever so being that you were in the military, did you ever get your what is it, the discharge? Did you get discharged?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay,
I have an
okay.
honorable discharge. I
Oh,
went to college
fantastic.
and everything.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah. So I did all that. I got out, and then I decided, okay, I was making a ton of money going to school because of the
Mhm.
VA benefits.
Of course.
So unemployment, VA
Uh-huh.
benefits,
Oh, I love
then the
that.
stipends that they give you. I was making
Yes.
like $8,000 just
Okay.
going to college.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, this
Which
is
you
cool.
deserved.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know, you're
oh,
overseas. You're
period.
depleting yourself.
Yeah,
You're
I was
115
living
pounds.
my best life. I was 22. I was
Okay,
living
okay,
my
just
best
saying.
life.
I
You know,
want you to
yeah.
know.
I mean, geez.
I
you
was
know.
enjoying myself.
Well deserved. Well
yes.
deserved. Yes.
But then I
Uh-huh.
was like, okay, I end up getting pregnant with my son, and then I have my son, and postpartum hits me like
Oh,
Okay.
goodness.
Like
Got
it just
it.
knocks me out, right?
Yeah.
To the point where I'm having this identity crisis. Like I can't just be a mom. Like this is
Okay.
not. I'm not just meant to be a mom. Like
Okay.
I can't do this, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like crying, telling my
Mhm.
mom. My mom's like, but mija, you're
Yeah.
so lucky that you get to be
Yes.
with your kid. Like, you know how
Right.
many moms wish they had that? And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't care. I don't want to be home with my kid all day.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
right.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then, so I decide, okay, I'm going to get a job. So I get a job. Really good money, actually,
Okay.
like $25 to $30
Oh, wow.
on salary back in 2012.
That's
Wonderful.
great.
So that's
Okay.
really
Wow,
good,
really
right?
good.
Yeah, as a
definitely.
purchasing manager and
You know?
everything.
Okay.
But the thing was that the owner, he used to micromanage me.
Okay,
So
got
I
it.
started having dreams. I kid you not, I would wake up typing on Excel. Like in the middle of the night, I'm
Wow.
like typing on
Stop.
Excel.
You're
Like,
all traumatized.
Okay.
yeah, like
yeah. That's when you know.
because he was like,
Mhm.
it's gonna take you 30 minutes because it takes 1.5 seconds to fill each line. I need this done by this time, like that. So I'm like, I couldn't even like
Breathe.
blow my
Yeah,
nose,
right,
you know.
right,
So I was
exactly.
like, this is way too stressful.
And that's the
my
worst thing. Like
God.
micromanaging is like parenting.
I had never
Mhm.
felt that anxious in
Wow.
my life.
Wow.
I was
Okay.
like, I can't.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I can see this.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
I was having these dreams and I
Uh-huh.
was still with my kid's father at the time. He's like, why are you talking about like men in your dreams or
Oh
whatever?
my God.
But it was like my boss.
Oh my
you know?
God.
'Cause I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like working in my
No way.
sleep.
Oh
so
my
I was like, oh
God.
no.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to quit. So I remember
Mhm.
I was at work one day and I'm like, my shirt is stained with boob milk because
Oh my
my
goodness.
baby's a baby.
Right.
And I'm like on the verge of tears
Oh
because
my
I'm like, I cannot
God.
believe I'm like
Yeah.
sitting here
Mhm.
working my life away
Right.
with boob milk
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
shirt.
Right,
like
right.
I'm
Just
about to have a
going all
meltdown.
in.
Oh,
literally.
Yes.
Yes.
I can
So
oh
I
my
called
God.
my aunt on my break and I was like, Dia, I just want to I want to work for myself. Like I've always wanted to have my
Mhm.
own boutique. I always
Okay.
wanted to have like my own little fashion store, whatever.
Mhm.
Like I don't know what to do. She's like, Mija, quit. There's no better time than now. You're making
Mhm.
money from being in school. Why are you working for somebody?
Mhm.
Yes.
And she's like, just quit. And I was like quit right now? And she was like, yeah, like quit right now.
Oh my
and I was
God.
like, all right. So
No
I went
way.
upstairs to my boss's office and I was like, I quit.
No
He's
way.
like, you're not even gonna give me 2 weeks. I can't give you what is that called? A letter of recommendation.
Right.
If you just walk out. And I was like, no, for real, I quit. Like I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore.
No way.
Yeah. So
Oh
then
my
the
God.
following week, which was May 1st. I have it
Okay, wait.
actually
What's your
tattooed.
aunt's name? Because we love her.
Her name's Wendy. She
Wendy.
actually had just started her billing company at the time.
Okay, got
So
it.
she was like, just
She
do
knew.
it.
She knew.
Yeah,
it was
like
up.
just
She knew
bet
it
on
was
yourself.
Up. Oh my God.
Yes.
We love you, Wendy. We love you,
Okay,
Wendy.
she's a
you
queen.
know?
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, that was 2012, 2013,
Okay.
2013 actually.
Mhm.
So then I was like, okay, so the following week I went and I filed my business name in San Bernardino County
Yes.
and I started my boutique. The first year was very slow, maybe
Mhm.
30,000 in sales
Okay.
or
What
something
was
like
the name
that.
of your business?
Gia Monet Boutique.
Gia Monet Boutique.
Yes, I had a store
Okay.
location at Victoria
Oh, wow.
Gardens.
Oh
I
my
had
God,
one in
yes.
Del Amo Mall.
We probably found
Eventually,
the store.
over the years,
Okay,
at
got
the
it.
Ontario
Uh-huh.
Mills, I
Okay,
had one
okay.
outside in a strip mall.
And these are great locations.
Yeah, so I was like
Yeah.
really
Wow.
hustling, right?
Yeah, and actually, for your first year, 30K in that year,
In sales, yeah.
that's really good too. In
Ye-
2012,
Yeah, it was like
13.
maybe like 5 months in
Okay.
Yeah.
business that I had just
Wow.
started, and
And
it was
normally-
online only.
Oh
Yeah,
my
normally most
God.
businesses are negative in the beginning because you're putting in so much value into trying to grow
Mhm.
it.
No, yeah, I was doing
Right.
really good.
And you said
thankfully.
online?
Online only.
Okay, so even back then, online,
Yes.
it was a little bit more.
And then you know a little side hustle at the
Uh-huh.
swap meets and stuff.
Oh,
that
you
was
know.
cash only.
Right,
You know?
okay,
You know?
yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows about that.
Yeah.
Right, right. You know,
Like,
you
don't
know.
tell the IRS that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
Love
But
it.
so then that
Okay.
happened, and then but
Mhm.
then in the next 2 years, it just grew so much
Mhm.
significantly, and in the next 2 years, I think we did like 2 million the following year, and then the
gosh.
following year we did 3 or 4 in sales,
Wow.
and then I just started opening more
Love
locations.
that.
The thing with being a new entrepreneur, being the first in my family, and all of that is
Mhm.
too much growth too quickly.
Mm.
Got it.
Rather than stability, you know. So I
Okay.
definitely hit a lot of speed bumps because of that.
Mhm.
But once I got past those, then I decided to start a wholesale company because I was already building a following on YouTube
Mhm.
where I was talking about the industry, right?
Got
So I
it.
was sharing things that most people don't share about the
course.
fashion industry.
Right.
And people that wanted to open a boutique were like
Mhm.
looking to me for
Right.
guidance, direction.
The blueprint.
Right.
Love
Right.
that.
So then
Love
because
that.
I had this audience, I
Mhm.
was able to open a wholesale company.
Mhm.
And that was maybe 6 years into the business.
Wow.
Being in the fashion industry, maybe 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened the wholesale company. In the first month, I generated 300,000 in sales just in the wholesale company.
I love that.
And
First
that's
month?
yes.
Wow.
And that's because, again, I had this platform and I had this community that I had built on trust, basically, that I was sharing things with you to help you grow. So why wouldn't you support me? You
Love
know,
that.
that love and support from my following has always been genuine because I've always showed up genuinely as myself and always trying to serve. That's I think everybody's biggest purpose is to serve. If you serve, you will be blessed to be a blessing, right?
Yes.
So then I did all that, and then business was going great, and then marriage problems, you know?
Okay.
So then
And it
marriage
usually comes with money too. It's just for some reason when it's either too much money or too little money, that's when the problems come.
It has to be just right.
It's just
even
right
if
there.
it's just right, depends on
right,
the man
actually,
and the
yeah.
character, or the woman, the character of a person.
Yes.
Period.
Do you feel like the true colors of that relationship came about because of how much you were making now? Because you're, as a powerful woman, and I think stereotype, right? Women are stereotyped automatically as like they're not supposed to make more than the man. Do you feel that maybe that made him feel like you're the provider of the family?
I think that he always felt like he didn't have to do anything more than anything.
Okay.
I always felt like he was like, oh, well, she's got it. Like, or we're like, all our bills were 50-50, maybe even 60-40. It's trips and things like that I would pay for. Like, I always pulled out my card. So that's something that I would never do again.
Okay,
I am in my full feminine energy.
I
I
love
am
it.
in my full soft era.
Yes.
I will not pull out my card ever again for anyone.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
And you don't need to know what I have going on until you need to know. It's on a need to know basis.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it just was that he was comfortable with that, with being that, you know? And
then let me ask you this. Was it you, because again, you were, at a point in your life where you were in tears and being micromanaged to basically millions, from you building your company, you building it yourself.
Right.
Now,
myself. Reiterate that myself.
Yourself. And I heard you say that when you were saying it, I was like, oh my gosh. But did I guess it was your husband, did he get to see this growth of you being in this time of tears to the millions? He
did. And I remember a conversation vividly when my son was small. I asked him, hey, do you mind taking Sundays off to help me so I could go to the swap meets with the baby? Because my son was small. Right. And he's like, well, you should have thought about the fact that you had a kid before you wanted to have a business.
Oh, wow.
And I never, ever forget that, because that should have been my biggest get out of here, right? Yeah. But again, I'm like, it hurt me, but then I was like, okay, well, I mean, this is my kid's dad, whatever. Right. But that should have been my exit, because that just told me everything I needed to know from the jump, that this wasn't going to be something that was
like just buried it.
Productive. Right. Yeah. But I remember those things now, and I'm like,
no, and thank you for sharing that, because again, you have to be supportive of your partner if you want to make it big, or if you want a successful business, or whatever
because it's always going to hold you back.
Exactly.
It's always going to hold you back. Right. It's going to limit you. You can't let your light shine. You can't be truly yourself, because it makes somebody uncomfortable. You always have to dim your light for somebody in that type of relationship.
I couldn't agree with you more. Even me and Mike, when we started, we were very pull-offish. Like, no, well, you got.
I was like more Eli, but
anyways. So we were very pull-offish. So we're kind of very similar to what you and your husband were going through. Like, well, we're gonna do this. Well, you should have thought of it. We were getting into it. Now, as we've gotten, because we're 13 years now, we're more like whatever you want.
But again, we weren't in business in the beginning together, so obviously, when we didn't even have our own business either. So it was just like our 9 to 5s, whatever. So it's not like we controlled those businesses.
Right.
When we did start working with each other in business together with our own entrepreneurship, then that's when things change, because it's like, well, now we're running this, or now you're running a business, I better support you. Or if I'm running one, you need to support me as well. Yeah. So things did change. But yes, in the beginning, it was a little bit of what you were saying.
Like a pull tug.
Yeah, definitely, exactly. Definitely. And that's, I think, what many people need to learn is how to understand that relationship. Because when you marry somebody or you're with somebody, you kind of have to understand what you're accepting. Because, he should have known from day one, hey, she's going to be an entrepreneur. She's got kids. I can't stop her. She's going to keep going forward. All I can do is support. And it should support me and at the same time. And unfortunately, he didn't catch on. And unfortunately, even with my ex, she didn't catch on with my movement as well. And those are the problems that why there's a divorce rate, or very high divorce rate, and why people don't stay together as often as they should anymore. Because, and it isn't the whole religious aspect as much as, I'm sure you tried, I tried, and we've obviously survived our relationship because people need to understand that that person on the other side has to truly support you. And unfortunately, in your case, it didn't work out.
Absolutely. And I think, too, another big thing for whoever's watching is don't get married till you're 30 at least.
Right.
Oh,
no,
okay.
for real.
No,
Yes.
honestly, because you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You don't know what that person wants. You don't know what
Yes.
you truly want. You don't know where life is going to take you.
Mhm.
You're barely figuring things out. And yes, a relationship could last that started in your early 20s, but it's better if you wait longer to a place where you're developed so
Right.
that you avoid having these really big challenges, because they're big, because you're going through these identity crises and these identity deaths repeatedly as you figure
Right.
yourself out. And it's better for you to just work on yourself first, and then progress into marriage. Maybe if you start a relationship in your late 20s or whatever, 25, 26, build that relationship, but while you're still working on yourself. Because when you're married, it's a whole different ballpark. Now it's a real consideration of the entirety of your relationship, where you're going to go, what decisions you're going to make. And now it's not just you, but before, when you're single, it's just you.
Right.
So I would say definitely that's something that's a big thing, is to wait and build yourself first and then build together.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, that's huge. So going back to your story about,
Yes.
you're building your business, your brand.
Yes. So to pick up where I left off, essentially. Okay. So then I start having these marriage issues, right? And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, this is not for me. A lot of things happened. There was betrayal, all that stuff. Anything that you can think of,
Right.
Of course.
happened.
And
I
is
got
this
that.
after the 3 kids?
Yes, this is after my 3
So
kids.
now-
It's slightly right after my daughter was born.
Okay, got it.
Right. So then
Yes.
there's this betrayal, and then I just completely lose myself. Number one, I didn't even know who I was, first of all, because I never could be my true self. And number two, now I have a new daughter, postpartum, 2 other kids, and then this happens, and
Running
I'm just
a business.
sideswiped. Yes, running a business and everything. I'm just sideswiped. So I spent a good year still in the relationship, like healing and kind of trying to figure myself out, doing therapy, church, you name it.
Yes.
And then I realized that he's going to fight me for what I earn. So when I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to slow it down. I'm just going to slow it down and let things gradually just go, and I'm going to enjoy my life. And it just so happened that when I was starting to get in that frame of mind and I was realizing what was going on, I lost my father. And when I lost my father, it just shifted my whole perspective. This was January 2021, and it just shifted my whole perspective. It's okay. No, it's okay. It was actually like the biggest hidden blessing. I think he saved my life when he passed. Like, he saved me. And it just kind of made me see life differently, where I was like, okay, life is too short to be unhappy, to live in dead places, to not be myself, to not show up as my true self, to not love myself. And I just decided that at that point, I was just going to live.
Wow.
So I did a whole lot of living for like 2-3 years. I just kind of like let things wither away because I'm not going to give you anything you didn't help me earn.
So in that time frame, even your business, you were just kind of on standby?
I just kind of.
Okay.
Pushed it to the side.
Yeah.
It wasn't as valuable as the time to find yourself.
And I realized later on, now in reflection, I realized that I loved my business so much because I was missing so much love at home. So I poured everything I could into my business, and I loved it so much because that's the kind of love that I needed that I didn't get. So I gave it to my business. And it no longer gave me that once that relationship was over. Once I called it quits, I was like, this doesn't fill me. It doesn't give me anything anymore. And that's another big thing that I want to bring up is if you're not meant to be in a box. If something's not working for you anymore, that's all right. Your whole identity doesn't have to be the career that you built from one decade of your life to the next. Do something else, whatever makes you happy.
Right.
So when I did that, I just decided to let it go. And as I started to let it go, I started to allow myself to be myself,
Wow.
for my light to shine. And that's where my social media platforms grew.
Got it.
That's where I started to have a social media presence online. And that's where I started to garner a following. And then came all these other opportunities, like an affiliate on Amazon, like being a Target affiliate.
Yes.
Now I think anybody could be a Target affiliate. I
Yeah.
think anybody who has a social media platform could be a Target affiliate. But that's where all these opportunities came from after the fact. Now I work with other brands. I do PR. There's opportunities like this.
Amazing.
And just kind of show up as myself, but also serving God, and really showing up and showing God's people that there's so much more that you will be gifted if you walk in obedience, if you die to yourself every day. And that's something that I struggle with every day. And I work on every day, is just being a better version of myself, so that can be a reflection of God working in me, so that other people can fulfill their purpose as well. I feel like my purpose is to serve, to share my story, to amplify my voice, so that people can see that you can do anything.
Yes,
Right.
You can do anything.
Right.
Anything you set your mind to, anything that you give to God and you say, hey, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to bless people because of it, blessed to be a blessing, like I said before.
Love that.
Then it just expands all of your opportunities and builds your networks for you. So then finally this year, I was like, okay, this year in December, I was like, you know what, God, I'm done playing. Like, I'm done having a good time. I had my breather. I was like, I let that go. I was like, you know what? So my keyword for my vision board this year was intentional and discipline.
Love it. Okay.
So intentional era and discipline. So it's something that I've been talking about on my platforms a lot. And I'm back to work. So I spent Q1 just, I didn't go out.
Okay.
I didn't drink.
Yes.
I stayed home and I
Love
just
it.
worked on the vision. And
All in.
I had my vision board. I would stare at it every day and just figuring out ways to execute my vision for the year. And that was to open content studios, to open my own personal headquarters, to work on merch for myself and also brand myself. So now I'm working on picking brand colors, a brand image, essentially getting back on YouTube and vlogging, but now showing up as myself. So before I used to show up with business content because that's all I had the freedom to do.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But now I just get to be me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love
so
it.
now I'm just a personality, you know,
Love
now
that.
I'm just me.
Yes, Jaclyn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jaclyn.
Yeah.
Love
It's just
that.
me.
And that's so amazing because you said, all this blew up when you started being yourself.
Yes.
And that is so powerful. And I want to ask you a question about the content studios in a minute because I know you have some stuff brewing there. But, one question that I have for you is because I have the chills. You are a powerhouse. You are a boss lady.
Right.
Thank you.
You are just teaching me so much as I sit here.
Thank you.
And everything has been so positive, and you just being able to break through every time you have one of these hard moments in your life, whether it you being a single parent or your business or, being micromanaged, again, crying and one of your most moments of your life.
Yeah.
What would you say makes you the strong woman that you are? How do you break through these problems when they occur? Because I've heard women even having postpartum depression before, and it's something that some of them can't even get over, and again, you're getting through that, and you're getting through being the single parent, everything you do. How do you get through these hard times, if you could?
That's actually an incredible question. So the number one thing I think first and foremost is knowing yourself so much that you are so self-aware as to what's going on with your mind and your body when it's happening as it's happening. So whenever you have, let's say, a change in your body, you know yourself enough to know that, oh, wow, I never had that mole there before, or I never had that palpitation before. This is new to me. Oh, this is new to me. So same thing with your mental, is practicing self-awareness so that you can sit back and say, okay, let me reflect. Why is this affecting me? Why is this a challenge? Why is this causing me to go in a different direction? This isn't me. I'm not feeling like myself. Self-awareness is like the biggest thing that you can give yourself, is to pay attention to you.
Wow.
And that's when you can begin to address the bigger things. And I say, how do I address the bigger things now? I surrender. I give it to God. I literally, before I would say that, and it sounds pretty, but now I really make it an effort to tell God, I don't know what to do with this. What do you want me to do? I lay it at your feet. I can't carry it anymore. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And I do that now on the daily. As I was driving here, I was praying and asking God that his word would shine through my speech.
Wow.
for his glory, you know, because I have everything and I am everything because he gave it to me, and he can take it away from me. And so I really try to surrender anything that I'm struggling with to him. And then on top of that, you do have to do things on your own, practical things like journaling makes a huge difference. Sitting down in your thoughts and really thinking about where you can fix things inside of yourself so that things work out better for you. A lot of self-reflection, a lot of journaling, a lot of quiet time. And then when it's not quiet time, a lot of worship. I sing worship. I put worship music every day in the morning because it just sets the tone for the day. I wake up, I don't check my phone first because I don't want the distraction of the world to make me feel some kind of way. I want God to tell me how my day is going to go.
That's beautiful.
And I set the tone like that for my kids too. So my kids wake up and praise in the morning.
Amazing.
Same thing.
That. Amazing.
And that sets the tone for the day and for your life. And even if bad things are going to happen no matter what. But if you can take a step back and say, okay, well, this happened, but this doesn't define my life or my entire day, or this is a season and I'll get past this season. What do I need to learn? If you can dive into what do I need to learn, you can be anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like how
so
you
powerful. So
I like how
powerful.
you basically just gave away the biggest gem right now, because most people have a hard time. What they do is they bury it and they try to say, all right, it doesn't exist, it's not there. You're actually saying accept it, understand the fact that it's happening, that it's happening to you for a good reason. And unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to say, hey, it's happened. Like, instead of feeling like the victim, you're accepting the fact that, all right, unfortunately it's happening, but you know what, it is happening and I'm accepting it. What do I do from here to grow and understand it, and how to make it better for myself so my life is better, which you actually were able to connect with that, you know, through your worship, through your visions with God, or even by maybe even looking at your kids. You're looking at them like, maybe you can figure it out. All right, I want to be here for them. And obviously you're looking at yourself through your mirror saying, hey, I deserve to be a better, happier person. So I think that's very, very key, because a lot of people dig it inside, they hide it. And then I've heard about situations where people just become this vicious machine because they don't take care of themselves, and now they're just screaming or angry at the world because they feel victimized, when at the end it's all about what how they feel inside. Exactly.
Right. It's you, basically.
Yeah, it's a reflection. It'll reflect on the outside.
And I love that because Mr. Eli is a little bit older than us. Just a little so he has a little bit more control, I feel like.
36 then.
You know, right.
I have a lot more control.
He has a lot more control. I
literally never get angry.
Like, so
Same.
you know, I feel
go.
like you guys are both on that level. And for myself, I'm barely learning this to be able to basically, I guess the word is, blame yourself in a way, because sometimes even myself, I'll scream and then I'm like, well, it wasn't my fault. Because
Can I stop you there?
Please.
You use the negative word.
Okay.
Blame yourself instead of just being self-aware and saying,
There you go.
yeah.
Okay,
so when there's so much power in your tongue and in your words. The Bible says that there's life and death in your tongue.
Yeah.
So if you start to attach negative words and those types of things to yourself, then that becomes your reality.
Right.
And that's why I'm still learning, as you can tell.
Yeah, but there you go.
And so it's amazing how you will reflect on yourself. Take some time, be like, you know, Jaclyn, like, why did I scream today? You know, because I could be a person that's like, you know, why did that person make me scream? When in reality, it should be, why did I let myself scream? Or why didn't, you know, I'm not reflecting on myself. And again, like Mr. Eli was saying, not a lot of individuals will do that. And you just showed us today that you can do that and be this very powerful person, but you have to take the steps to be able to make that happen.
And you can fail too. I fail my kids, I think, all the time. Like, and it's a big part of that is owning it. Like saying, you know what, I messed up. Or I'll go to my kids and I'm like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that to you, or I shouldn't have done that. I think my biggest teaching or my biggest teachers are my kids.
I love that.
Because they're the ones that are so vulnerable and the easiest target.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so whenever I catch myself, I'm like,
yes, I can feel you.
Yeah, and my son will tell me like, well, you didn't have to talk to me like that.
Right.
You didn't have to speak to me that way. And I'm like,
yes,
you're absolutely right, son. I'm so sorry.
I've had that with my son before too, because the drive sometimes can be so long, and I'm like running in the house to like go pee or whatever, you know. And, you know, the first person I see is my son, and I'm like, I need to use the restroom. What's going on here? Is the trash taken out? I also have to calm myself down and go back to him and be like, hey, I was in a rush. I shouldn't have spoke to you like that. And then, you know, we have a better relationship. But yes, you have to catch yourself. again, and I don't think people like to hold themselves accountable, but that could be one of the most powerful things.
That another thing is to slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yes,
Slow down.
right.
Just one thing at a time.
Yep.
Yes,
I
Because,
couldn't agree.
yeah, because the more we're like dun dun dun, the more
Mhm.
we mess up. Actually, a prime example, I literally was just making my kids breakfast and I was rushing.
Mhm.
Tell me what happens. I break the eggs.
No.
I burn the ham.
Oh, no.
And then I burn the toast. And then I break a
Oh
bowl.
my God.
And my son's like, he comes up from the living room. He walks up and he's like, you know, if you just slow down, everything would have been done already.
Wow.
I was like,
He like was the he gave
oh,
you
he
the answer.
always checks me.
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
like God uses him to speak to me.
Yeah.
Like, if you slow down and you just enjoyed the journey, so enjoyed making breakfast for my kids instead
Yes.
of rushing through it,
True.
how much more beautiful that would have been. And we would have already been done had I not
Right.
broken the egg. Have you tried to
Yes.
clean an egg from the floor before?
Mhm, mhm.
It's a mission. It's like napkin after napkin after napkin.
Yes.
Burnt toast.
Mhm.
Here
You
we go
know?
again, another 4 minutes.
Right.
That was literally me today. I was peeling eggs. He had like 8 eggs boiled, and I was peeling, but I was in a rush. Every single one, I promise
Crumbled.
you, was ripped up eggs with shells still in them. I'm like, I
I
can't.
was like,
do
"Are
this."
you okay?"
He walked in from the run, and I was screaming like, "Oh, I can't do these eggs." He's like, "Are you like okay?" I'm like, "No, because they're just all ripping apart." But I'm
I
going
hate
back.
eggs.
Yeah,
I was so mad, but
These
I
are
agree.
real life experiences,
Yeah,
you guys.
if I
Yeah.
slowed down, I bet you I would have been just fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
It seems like you're a speaker. It seems like you should be on stage. Like the way
You
you
think?
speak, you are so amazing.
Thank you.
Can we ask you maybe about your upbringing? Does this have to do with the way your parents raised you? Because you really have amazing advice. I think I even researched and you even help relationships. A lot of people come to you about relationship issues, but did this come from your parents? Is this self-growth? What do you say it is?
I think this has been just my own personal development and my life experiences. I think that God just placed me in all the correct places for me to actually grow as a person. From the military, from making these big decisions by myself, living away from my family, those types of sacrifices. Then my kids, each one has taught me more life lessons.
Wow.
And then establishing my relationships with my parents as an adult and just really understanding things from an outside perspective has really helped my personal growth. But as a child, I would say that I was definitely like really independent.
Okay.
Like, don't tell me nothing. Even my mom to this day, she will not tell me anything unless I ask. She knows. I always tell her, and I have this big boundary, and I know it's going to be a challenge for me with my kids, but I have this big boundary where I'm like, I didn't ask you for your opinion or your advice. I just need you to hear me.
Yeah.
Let me vent. And when I'm ready for your
Yes.
opinion, you can tell me. Until
Right.
then, don't tell me.
Right.
So that's something that I
feel
think
you.
as a child, I always like had my own little boundaries, you know. I was like, this is my bubble and don't tell me nothing unless I can receive it.
Yeah.
So I think I was just born that way.
Mhm.
And I think I was just born with like, I don't know, just this personality of reflection and understanding and compassion. And aside from that, I'm a big lover. I like move, everything I do is with genuine love. And so when I do things with love, I just feel like it puts me in a position of receiving, and and that's what's helped me grow. I feel like,
I
Love
love
that.
that.
you know.
I
So
love
as a kid, I was just a wild child.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I was
yes.
definitely on the scooter,
There you
like
go. There you go.
racing. You know,
Yeah.
I was that kid. I was just the kid that was out there with the lemonade stands.
Oh my God, that's so
You're
cool.
Yeah.
being
You were not-
yourself.
yeah.
You're being yourself.
Yes.
And then now you are able to be yourself again, and look at what success it brings you, you know, because for a time there you weren't able to be yourself, and look at what happened because you weren't yourself. So I can kind of see that, you know,
Right.
just seeing your childhood as just going however you want to go. And now you're doing that again. And look, again, the success is amazing.
So I encourage all of you guys to let your kids be themselves and choose their own path, because my parents, you know, first gen, college, stable job, steady income, health insurance. That was what was pushed, right?
Yes.
You know, this is the way, you know, but in order
Exactly.
to have more, you have to break the mold. You
Right.
can't
Yes.
do the same things
Mhm.
as everyone else.
And honestly, we agree with that. We actually let our kids do whatever they want.
Mhm.
I mean, not like be lazy. I mean, more like, hey, if you don't want to do that, or if you want to
Right.
go to college, if you don't want to go, just figure out what you want to do with your life. Just do something. you know, and be active on it. If you fail, it happens. You learn, you get up, you do it again, you try something different instead of like, you're going to college, you're going to get this degree, you're going to do this, you're going to be a realtor or a mortgage lender, you know, you know,
a doctor,
exactly.
go to school for 10 years and owe $500,000 to the government, you know, so
don't
I know.
even get me started on that.
I know, right? So we're very big on that feel for our kids, like do what makes you happy. At the end, it's your decision, it's your life, because as they grow older, they're not going to be with you forever. They're going to have their own life. They have to grow and do their own thing. And I don't want to be that dictator dad. Like my dad told me I needed to do this. And then those are the ones that become later on somebody that feels that they weren't heard and they go through those problems. So I can agree with you more than 100% on that for sure.
No, definitely. And I don't play with my kids. I tell my kids, like, they'll be like, oh, well, you have money. I'm like, yeah, I have money. You don't. You're broke. So when you grow up, you need to figure it out. I'm not going to give you what I earn. I was like, and don't expect me to leave you a legacy or whatever. I'm going to enjoy my life till the day I die. What's left, you can have. But you gotta work on it on your own. This is not, that's your pedo.
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, we don't play that. And my son would be like, well, I'm going to go to dad's and I'm like, peace.
Right.
Bye.
You're like, have a good time.
See
You're like,
ya,
have fun out there.
Yeah, have fun over there.
Right.
So,
sorry. No,
Go ahead.
I wanted to finish up with my question. So then I'm sure all this love that you give, this is the reason why many people, I'm sure a lot of your fans, they come to you for relationship advice because the love you put in, but then also because of the, you know, situations you've been put in as well. Is that why you would say people come to you for relationship advice?
I would say so. And I think, like I said, I've always had such a beautiful following of people. Everybody has always shown me so much love. And I think in me being able to see people as people and not see myself as bigger than anyone else, just see myself as everyone else, and like we all be going through stuff. Like I got brown cabinets, like we the same. I may not have popcorn ceilings, but you know, like we're in the same boat, girl. Like
my cabinets are brown too. My cabinets are brown too.
I got brown cabinets too. You know,
I'm like, these are from the 90s. Just saying, at least mine.
So basically, sharing the relatability and being honestly myself and being like, hey, but we leveling up. Maybe one year we won't have brown cabinets. You know,
they'll be white, they'll be gray. You know,
yeah. So kind of incorporating life and the humility in that, I think it makes people feel safe enough to approach me for things and to talk to me. And I talk very openly. I'm always very vulnerable. And a lot of people could say that that's a downfall, maybe sharing too much or being too vulnerable. But I think that not everybody can do that. And I think God gave me that voice for a reason.
I think it's just like when we were talking before we were recording, the whole purpose we do these podcasts is kind of a different way of reading, as hearing chapters of people's lives. And it's a much better way because you're more tangible, you're more accessible versus someone that you're reading a book from that everybody's read. So we get to read new things together. You hear about us, we hear about you. And it's such a different way of building and understanding even yourself. Because now I'm going to walk away with some knowledge about your chapters of your life, saying like, well, we could have done this differently, or we could do this differently. So that's an exciting thing that we learn from it. And I'm sure while you've been developing your businesses, you've been learning, falling, growing. And who knows, you might fall again. We might fall again. But it's another learning example of our growth until we get to where we want to be in life.
And speaking of businesses, you have a new business that you're starting right now, which is so amazing. Can we talk about that? You have and what would you call it that way?
So I would say like content studios.
Yes,
I don't
content
really know
studios.
what the proper word is because I'm just trying to bring something to the Inland Empire that is in LA that we don't have in the IE. Which is like a place for you to take cute pictures, have aesthetics, you know, something where maybe you don't have a background at your house, appropriate background, a studio vibe to the IE. And because I had to drive an hour and a half to LA and then the parking and then it's just not accessible for people in the IE to have that. So that's something that I wanted to bring to the IE. I'm starting small and then building from there, because that's one business lesson I learned in my first business is not going too big too fast. One thing at a time.
That's right.
So I'm starting small. I got 5 offices. 4 of them will be studios. 1 will be my office.
Oh my gosh.
And then they're not too huge. They're just enough. And then kind of build from there. See the reaction. See the support.
Love that.
Kind of to serve small businesses in the Inland Empire that like boutiques. Entrepreneurs too that want to come take professional photos or maybe do their podcasting or their like lives,
Right.
and they have like a nice
Yeah.
background.
I love that.
Yeah, and quiet, you know?
Yes.
So that's something that I wanted to do that I felt I needed and that I didn't have.
Right.
So that's a good thing in business is when you see a need, fill the need, because that is going to bring you business, because there's a need. There's a need for that. So then that's the reason that I decided to do that. So it's going to be in Pomona.
Yeah.
Opening
Pomona.
May 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Pomona
just
May
coming
1st.
soon.
Yeah, Muse Studios.
Muse Studios. And
Muse
this
Studios.
is so needed, that word need.
Yes.
Obviously in the Inland Empire,
Yeah,
we have a
so-
property there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Inland Empire consists of, you know, like Rancho. It could even be the Riverside County, San Bernardino County, the high desert area. All these areas, they're all out there. And we don't have studios like this, you know what I
Right.
mean? And content studios, it could change people's lives, because right now we're sitting in basically a content studio. And,
Yes.
you know, you guys behind the camera, you don't know how big this room is, and you don't really need a lot of room as long as you have a nice little room. The things that you can create, the education you have provided to us today is just, you know, better than gold. And again, we're in a content studio. So what you're creating is so needed. It could change people's lives. I mean, our lives changed when we, you know, this is our content studio, but when we got this, our lives have changed for the better just because of this one little room.
Right.
So what you're creating is so amazing. And again, I have to say that word, needed. you know?
Yes. And it just creates a space
It
of
does.
creativity and
Yes.
inspiration.
Right.
And so much can develop. So imagine to be able to serve people in that way and see
amazing.
people flourish because you
Wow.
created a space for them where they could flourish, where they're
Wow.
inspired.
Oh my God.
They're help them grow their business
Mhm.
because you created this space that they didn't have.
They could be themselves.
Yes.
Which that's how you
Yeah.
became successful.
Right.
So it's almost like it's needed, and then you're putting your love in what you became successful on by being yourself.
Right.
Now they get to be themselves, and then imagine what could be created.
Exactly. And one last thing I want to add
No,
to that
yes.
is the strategy. So I have learned my lesson in business. I used to work 80 hours a week. I no longer want to do that. I love my life. So I needed to do something that allowed me to have freedom. And what better way than to create studios that you type in a passcode and you give yourself access, and I don't have to be present.
Of course.
And that makes me money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
Congratulations.
And you know what? That's so
Congratulations.
huge right now because everybody's into some kind of social media platform. They're either building a podcast
Right.
studio. They're doing something, a fashion.
Commercials.
They're doing something, right? So I feel like providing that to a lot of people, you're going to put more money in their pockets, aside from, you know, you're earning your part as well. But it's so heavily needed in so many different ways because you're probably going to, I mean, aside from the monetization, you're going to have so many bookings because so many people need it. When we originally started wanting to do our podcast, we were looking in the Inland Empire. We were looking, what can we get locally?
Yes.
Luckily, we were blessed to have one on Rodeo, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
But I know, luckily we got it to where,
Amazing.
thank you.
Yes.
Luckily, we were able to get it because it tends to be a very good niche here.
Yes.
But in the Inland Empire, for those that live out there, who's going to drive 2.5 hours every single day, except for us, every single day to come out
Jaclyn.
here,
Yeah.
or Jaclyn, to do these performances, so to say, right? Because you're in essence, you're going into your character and showing the world your business, right? Your structure, what you're looking for. So you're literally providing a need that I think it's amazing. And I'm glad you researched it and captured that because it isn't there. It doesn't exist right now. And you're going to open that on May 1st. So that's super exciting.
And the way you stated that you can go in and put a passcode, the room's yours for a certain amount of hours. I want to go right now.
Right?
I'm like,
do you, boo?
You know,
I'll
I'm
be in
on
my
way.
office
There you
chilling.
go, right?
Like, do
Love
you?
that.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll
my
be over here
God.
creating my own content.
Right, you know,
in my
doing
own
the same
space.
thing.
Yeah,
Love
just
that
next
so much.
door.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
So
Love that so
going
much.
into your current business arena, so you're marketing yourself, you have a brand on Target and all these affiliates, right?
Yes.
So what exactly can people buy as you being an affiliate for these companies?
So essentially, it's just any products that I recommend. So if I decide that I like, you guys like what I'm wearing, or you like my earrings or whatever,
Loves it.
essentially I just post it, and then my followers will ask me questions about it or sizing or whatever if they want it, or they see something that I styled a certain way or
So
whatever.
cool.
anything
Yeah.
for my home, and then
Okay.
if they purchase it, I make a commission.
I love
That's
that.
so cool.
Right.
That
And
is
that's
so cool.
it's allowed me so much freedom, and I'm so thankful for everyone that supports me. I wouldn't be here without any of you guys.
Wow.
And I'm just really thankful for that opportunity, and it allows me to just create, like have
I love
fun,
that.
you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
it allows me to get dressed. It allows me to go to cute coffee shops. It allows me
Yes.
to have these sit downs where people could ask, you know, like, oh, well, where's the mic from? I would like to do that. And then they're ordering a mic with your affiliate link.
Right.
And
fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you get to connect with your audience because then they're like, hey, I bought the same earrings. We match. Or,
and they'll send me pictures. They'll be like, girl, how do I look?
You know?
I'm like, you look cute, girl.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So see the connections there as well, which is so amazing.
And we actually have an affiliate page with Amazon. We just never, I mean, a lot of the things, we buy a ton of things.
You're missing out.
We're missing
out. No, we buy so much and we never post it, but we have the page. We've already created it. We just don't post anything.
You're missing out.
We're missing out. So,
You're missing out.
We got to do that. So if you got an affiliate page, post just like Jaclyn does, because we're missing out and she's not. So
you're definitely missing out. There's so much opportunity there. It's just an extra form of income. If you want to be successful, you have to have several forms of income.
I love that.
Why not just share something that you're already using, and if somebody likes it, they can purchase it.
And to be able to connect with your partners or clients or whatever you want to call it, is the most powerful thing as well, to have that connection with them. And what better way to connect with your partners when they're wearing the same earrings as you and they're sending you a picture? It's like, we're twins now.
We're girls.
We're twins now, you know?
Investing the time in building those relationships so that they support everything that you do.
Right, that's amazing.
And I want to ask you a very deep question. So I feel like, you know, you've gone through your tornado and you're obviously now building and you're growing very, very fast. But I want to ask you something even deeper. So I know the divorce could possibly have been the worst situation, but you're still going through it. So has there been something from now to your age today that has actually completely destroyed you where you feel like you couldn't get back up?
Yes. My father's death. I think that once I lost my dad, that was the most painful thing I ever felt in my entire life. And I don't think I'll ever be that hurt unless I lose my mother or one of my children. Other than that, that was the most painful thing I ever felt in my life. And I think that once I was able to pick myself up from that and pick myself up from the death, it made me unstoppable, I think, in my mind. I think it made me realize that nothing in life could ever hurt me as much as that hurt me. And so it doesn't matter what you do, what you say about me or anything, because nothing will ever hurt me the way that that grand loss hurt me. Because my dad was my bestie. He was used to be in my videos. Everybody knows him. Like everybody, he would always be joking around. He worked for me actually the last 6 months of his life. And so he was very present in that time. And a lot of people on my platforms got to know him. And so people will remember him and they ask about him and stuff. And that was the most heartbroken I have ever felt in my life. I think I was drunk every day. I'm not even a drinker like that. And I would fill up my water bottles with vodka. And I would wake up in the middle of the night, take a sip, wake up all day,
just to shake off the problem.
I would just cry. I think I just cried. I would just cry in my bed for hours. And I would rewatch his videos on YouTube because I have them on YouTube. I would rewatch him and just cry. And then one day I got up, and then I was about to pick up the water bottle with vodka. And then I heard God say, that's enough. That's enough.
God.
Get up.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, that's enough.
Way.
And then I was like, what?
Yeah.
He said, I said, that's enough. And then that's it. That was the last time I drank. And then that's when I started to pick up the pieces.
Oh my God.
And I think that gave me a resilience. I think experiencing, I don't know if you guys have experienced death before.
And no, I actually haven't really experienced anything like that. I still have both my parents, but I can imagine. I know people in our circle that definitely have lost one of their parents, or even through divorce. But it's different, like in this case.
Well, yeah, because it's never for us. We've never had like a parent or anything that close. You know what I mean?
It's life changing.
Right.
It literally flips your whole world upside down, and it makes you question what reality is. I literally still feel like I could pick up my phone and call my dad. Yeah. But I can't. But I still feel like he's there. Like, like, no, when is he coming back? Right, you know, and it's been 3 years now. Yeah. And we can't believe it.
Right. You know, but you know what? You listen to God. You kind of accepted his call. He called you. Yeah. You're like, hey, by the way, it's time. You're like, stop, put the bottle down and wake up because you deserve more. You know, and a lot of people that have lost somebody, like you guys that are watching, like, you could do the same thing that Jaclyn's doing, is put the bottle down, or put the cigarette down, or put the drug down, or whatever it might be, and rise and realize you have so much more in life to give. You just have to get yourself back into it, because at the end, life is very short. You're right. Like in 1 second, I mean, things change so quickly. It's insane.
Literally in the blink of an eye. My dad died within 12 hours of calling me that he felt sick.
No
Oh my
way.
goodness.
within 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
My
So it
God.
like this, it just in an instant, it can change. And it gave me, like I said, it gave me so much life perspective and understanding of what life really is.
Mhm.
And it made me understand that like tomorrow really isn't promised. You can
Wow.
literally say hello to me and
Wow.
never see me again, or
Wow.
say goodbye to me and never see me again. And vice versa with my dad. I never expected not to see him again. I felt it though. I knew that I knew something was coming. I felt it. But you just are not promised tomorrow, guys. Like, you really have to bet on yourself. You really have to go out there and make things happen for yourself. You really have to go out there and like forgive people, move with love, put out positive energy, because you gain nothing from dwelling and from hurting and from unforgiveness. You gain nothing from any of that. And if anything, you take time away from your precious, beautiful life that you're gifted. And just imagine the way that I see it is just imagine if I would have stayed in that place and in that frame of mind of this deep sadness and hurt. And then finally, when I decided to get back up, let's say 6 months later or a year later, and then all of a sudden I don't feel good that day, go to the doctor and the doctor says, guess what? 2 weeks, that's all you have left. I wasted an entire year in unforgiveness, in bitterness, in sadness, in brokenness, when I could have just enjoyed the everyday. Wow. And the joy in the everyday. Wow. So I think that that's really what taught me about, like, his death taught me everything about life. And like I said, no other heartbreak could have ever done that to me.
That's such a great message. Like,
yeah. And as we sit here with you and hear the story, the only thing I can see in you is literally a real life superwoman.
Oh, thank you.
And it's anybody who's out there, you know, you can be going through the hardest times and you can still become a superwoman like yourself. You just have to push through. And I think that's what message we got here. And
yes,
you can't let yourself be left in that dark. You know, whether you're a man or a woman, again, you literally can be a superwoman like you, because that's all I see, a real superwoman sitting here right now.
And talking about the superwoman, in the next few years, where do you see yourself? What's the next version of Jaclyn? How are you going to morph yourself into even a better version of what you already are? Because you're already amazing, but you know, I'm sure there's more.
I think I just want to be a better mom. I just want to be a better me. I want to serve more. I want to make an impact, whatever that means, however God's going to use me. And I would like to get remarried. I would hope that God is working on my person right now. And hopefully I meet them soon in the next year or two and get remarried and really work together for the kingdom and for our kids. And that's it. That's really all I want. I think I just want a peaceful, happy life, and not happy, but peaceful, because if you have peace, then everything else comes after.
Wow.
I love that so much.
Well, Jaclyn, I want to thank you for being on our podcast. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your life story. Like, everybody can get a little piece of that and say, wow, like I can wake up and feel a little bit better and not as negative as I should.
Good vibes.
Good vibes only.
Wake up happy. So where can people find you if they want to look you up?
Here?
Yeah,
that's one.
Love
there. I have that on TikTok. That's my handle on TikTok. And then I'm also on YouTube, Jackie in Real Life. I also have a business channel called Boss Mama Jackie. And that's it. On TikTok, Instagram, I'm always on there, and I'm always just showing up for everyone.
And if you want to buy what she's wearing, just go on
Amazon.
You know, I love Amazon. There you go. They have the best fits. Just saying. I think I'm wearing Amazon too. So.
I'm not even kidding. You just inspired us to go on our affiliate page, because we have it open.
You taught us
we're gonna
lessons
market our stuff, because we buy a lot on Amazon.
Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing? You're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you. You guys expect these reels, and we're hopefully going to collaborate with her. And then we'll go from there. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. God bless everyone.
Bye, guys.